His name was, I forgot his first name, his last name is Kalbi. He said that I have seen that the Romans overpowered the Persians. To the contrary, the Persians overpowered the Romans. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Rum that, غُلِبَتِ الروم, في أدنى الأرض وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون. The Romans were defeated, and in a short period of time, commentators, they say, 3 to 9 years, they are going to become powerful again, and they're going to overtake their enemy, meaning the Persians. And then he says, and I have seen the Muslims take both superpowers out in less than 15 years. So he says, رأيت فارس غلبت الروم ثم رأيت الروم غلبت فارس ثم رأيت المسلمين يغلبون فارس والروم في أقل من 15 عام is the exact narration from this Sahabi. So this is important because it really gives us a concept of time, and the fact that, sometimes we are, hasty in asking, we need to see a change immediately without asking ourselves, and that's the point. What is it that we're doing to bring about this change? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put very clear conditions in the Quran. It's not just wishful thinking, it's not haphazard. There has to be materialistic mean. وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِّبَاطِ الْخَيْرِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ وَعَدُوَّكُمْ. That yes, you prepare this materialistic, might and power and so on. But also in the Quran, there are a number of conditions. The Sahaba, they used to go to bed, when they first moved to Medina with their weapons. They are afraid that Quraysh is going to invade overnight, and they are afraid that maybe the Ghassanis or all the different kingdoms in the north, they're going to descend south and they're going to overtake Medina because it's an upcoming power. And this Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and there is a congregation of Sahaba, they are establishing a state. We have to make sure that we put these guys in check. So they would go to sleep with their weapons, they wake up with their weapons. Very uncomfortable position, by the way. If you had to wear like an armor, or if you have like your sword by your side and so on. So they asked the Messenger ﷺ, O Messenger of Allah, when is this condition going to cease? When are we going to feel safe and secure? And he answered them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the following ayat. وَعَدَ Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised those who have iman amongst you that لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, that He is going to establish them with authority on the land. And He is going to وَلَيُبَدِّلَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا, and He is going to replace their state of insecurity and fearfulness with steadfastness and with security and with safety. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions 4 conditions for that to happen. And this is what we should ask ourselves. Are we fulfilling these conditions? Are we helping these people who are, destitute, helping these people who are weak and so on? What are the 4 conditions? And we conclude with that. He says, يُؤْمِنُونَ بِي, they have to believe in لَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا, they cannot associate any partners with me. Much easier said than done. But we have to make sure that we have this concrete belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are conditions of this belief. Ibn al-Qayyim talks about these conditions. All the different scholars, Imam Ghazali talked about تحقيق أسباب الإيمان في القلب. How can we establish these, this issue of iman? Number 2, he says that they have to إقامة الصلاة, they have to وأقاموا الصلاة, the next verse, وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة, they have to establish prayer, and they have to give from their money for the cause. They must do that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes by saying, and they obey their messenger. They obey Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have to obey the messenger. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you do these 4 things, He will show mercy on you. So it's a very concrete step-by-step that you have to fulfill before you say, oh my God, when we're going to see like some victory in Gaza? Oh my God, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to change the condition of the Muslimin? Oh my God, when the Muslims are going to be like, hopefully catch like some sort of a break and so on. Look at this place and look at this country and look at this. When it comes to ourselves, we need to establish these conditions first. That is why Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, in the very, very famous narrative, he says that if a man in this Arabian Peninsula stands and he says that I am going to decouple zakah, from salah, I am his fighter. I'll take my sword. I don't care about everybody. If it's by myself, I'm going to go and fight. And I will not allow for these conditions of victory to be dismissed or to be overlooked or to be replaced by some Arabian whatever, chieftain or some, head of tribe or whatever. The same deen, the same tradition that Muhammad ﷺ left with me, I am a man enough to uphold it. And it takes that kind of zeal and vigor and that fire inside. Umar ibn Khattab, he says, what about if we leave Medina and this is going to happen and doom and gloom? He says, Umar, what's wrong with you? And you are such a tyrant in the days of Jahiliyyah and you are like flip-flopping in the days of Islam. What's up with you? Stand like the men that we are and make sure that you fight these people, because they are going to take away our means of victory. And these are the things, that is the understanding that the Sahaba gave us and they left us with. And it's very important to remind ourselves of these different conditions, of these different principles. And inshallah, if we engage ourselves in making sure that we practice these things, when we are given an opportunity to look at something haram, we know that this sin is going to delay the victory from the people in Gaza. Link it to yourself directly. When you wrong your brother or your sister in some transaction or whatever, that this sin for sure is going to delay the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because of your shortcoming and my shortcoming, we are not fulfilling the conditions of victory, and we're delaying the conditions of victory to reach these people in Gaza and elsewhere in the Muslim world, inshallah. There are a lot of signs of hope, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take care of his deen, and many scholars have talked about that. Most recently, I think in Salabi, the very Libyan, the author, what's his name? Ali Salabi, right? Yeah, Salabi. So he talks about very interesting occurrence that on the day that Al-Mu'tasim, the Khalifa of the Muslimin in Baghdad, the last Khalifa of the Abbasi dynasty, he was killed by the Mongols. That on that very same day, Uthman I was born in Asia Minor, in current-day Turkey, and he brought back the dynasty and the Islamic Khilafah and so on. It took about what? Uthman, by the time he rose to power, those who've been watching series or whatever, 24 or whatever, by the time he became the ruler. Took about 24 years and so on of continuous fulfillment on behalf of the Muslims of the conditions of victory and stopping themselves from committing acts of disobedience. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled them to bring back the power and to establish authority, as this ayah in the Quran says in Surah Al-Qasas, I say that which you hear, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit with these words, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and the success to act upon them. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.